Who cares about throwing the winners on our shoulders and celebrating them when we can throw muck at the losers and leave them in the gutter where they belong?
Just one click will summon the radness, cure your sadness, fill your heart with gladness without any badness. It's Mailman Matt's Monday morning movie matinee madness.
Greetings, film friends. It's your movie mailman, Mailman Matt, and welcome to episode number 2 of my little show. Now, the number 2 is appropriate for this episode because we are going to celebrate the cinematic poop of 2022. This is my Sucky 7.
It's the best of the worst, which is still pretty crap. Try Harder Hollywood, number 7.
Thankfully, I only opened my wallet for 2 out of the 7 movies on this list. The other 5 were streamed at home, and 3 of those were pumped directly, like raw sewage, into my home by the good people at Netflix. Which brings us to the first movie on the list. The Invitation. This movie features a struggling New York artist that takes a DNA test and finds out that she has aristocratic roots in jolly old England. Now, we're all in agreement that the British aristocracy is good and kind and good looking. But these blue bloods turn out to be bloodthirsty and uncaring. Billed as a mystery, thriller, horror, there wasn't much mysterious or thrilling and certainly not horrific about it. It was dismal and dull. Be sure to return your invitation to sender.
Edgar went first last time. Shouldn't I be number 7? Number 6.
Judd Apatow started his film directing career with the massive 1-2 punch of 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up. Excellent comedy movies, hilarious. He came back again and again over the years with varied results, but then in 2022 his reputation was burst with The Bubble. It's the tale of a film crew trying to make an epic blockbuster under pandemic restrictions. It features so many funny people doing such unfunny things. There's a scene where everyone gets together and does a TikTok dance with dinosaurs. It must have sounded good to Judd, and if it sounds good to you, knock yourself out.
We're just giving our subscribers, all 3 of them, what they want. Beaver by the bucket load. Number 5.
Now, next up is the highest reviewed movie on my list, so maybe I'm going to make some enemies here, but the entire runtime of this movie I just sat there in the theatre thinking, this isn't for me. This is not for me. I don't know who this is for, but someone who is not me. Bones and All. Now, I must be out of touch with what passes as romance nowadays, but I just couldn't find it in my heart to connect with these star-crossed cannibalistic lovers. Is that what teens find sexy nowadays? As a teenager of the 90s, I'm more into the quirky rom-com side. If it's not Clueless, I'm clueless. I'm pretty sure She's All That was She's All That and a Bag of Chips, not She's All That and a Cannibal.
I mean, if the list is an odd number, then surely we should alternate between the odds and the evens. Isn't that right? Oh, well. Number 4.
Oh, how the franchises have fallen. The original movie in this series is one of my absolute favourites, and I found something to enjoy in every sequel since then, until this. Jurassic World Dominion. How can a movie about dinosaurs breaking free of their constraints, of their park and living amongst us, starring the original stars of the movie, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern and Sam Neill, be boring? I don't know how they did it, but they did it. The writers sat in the room and crafted this story about giant locusts devouring crops rather than giant rampaging lizards. You can tell they made the right decision because kids are just clamoring to get those locust toys off the shelves.
Hey, it's a tried and true formula. Don't mess with it, Perce. Number 3.
Now, as far as the Jurassic franchise has fallen, its plummet pales in comparison to the horror franchise which I have at number 3. At least Jurassic World Dominion had a T-Rex or a raptor thrown there somewhere in the background as a cameo. Michael Myers doesn't even really feature in this movie, not as we know him. At first he's some old hobo living in the sewer, and then some outcast teenager that's bullied by absolutely everyone in Haddonfield. I know we're not supposed to root for the bullies, but in this case, horror is one of my favourite genres, and slasher is one of my favourite subgenres of horror, and I just feel they did Michael Myers dirty in this. It was particularly disappointing. Halloween ends? Let's hope so.
Stop! He's already dead.
See, look, I'm lumbered with number 2 again. I'm going to miss the fanfare of announcing the top pick. Edgar doesn't even have numbers, not even handwritten ones this time. Well, I better get the number 1 picks for both lists next year.
I know it's become quite trendy to hate on Jared Leto, but I want to assure you right here and right now, I hated him way before it was cool. It's Morbin time! Morbius. This movie has already stolen 104 minutes of my life, and so I'm not going to let it steal much more. It's a superhero movie that would have felt dated a decade ago. Poor effects, poor pacing, shoddy action. I mean, there are certain heroes that we've heard their backstory 100 times. But Morbius, the living vampire? Most cinemagoers don't know who he is, but they don't waste any time with backstory or character development. Now, people don't go to superhero movies looking for art, they're looking for something fun. And I had no fun at all. I'm not saying that Sony should sell all their Marvel character rights to Disney, because their animation division is hitting out of the park. Into the Spider-Verse is absolutely first class, but the live action division needs adult supervision.
You thinking we'll still be around next year? I like that optimism. Here's your fanfare. Ba 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 ba. Number 1.
Times and tastes change, and comedy, more than any other genre, is getting harder and harder to pull off. And I take this into consideration when I sit down to watch a funny film. But this funny film misses the marky mark so hard, it earned my number 1 spot. Me Time. Another Netflix movie that I sat at home, click play, and for the entire runtime, I didn't even crack a smile, let alone laugh. Normally, Kevin Hart, in his quickfire quips, can tease something out of me, but these puke and poop jokes, I mean, I'm not above a puke and poop joke.
Poop again! He called the shit poop!
Just seriously juvenile stuff, bordering on anti-comedy. Mark Wahlberg better count himself lucky that I couldn't make it all the way through Uncharted, otherwise he'd find himself on this list twice, which is completely unheard of. I don't know who this movie was created for, but not for me, and I cannot recommend this less. Do not give me time, any of your time. Thanks for watching. If anyone is watching, I don't know if anyone's invested in movie lists from 2022 anymore. This was supposed to go up on January 9th, and now we're at Valentine's Day Eve. But that does give me the opportunity to say, I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, tiny bell, all of that stuff. And hopefully you'll hear from me again soon with my next special delivery. Cheerio, cinematic chums.